Oh, get ready. We're going to get romantic. We're going to get dramatic, just like Bridgerton. And we're going to have some fun with flowers. So come on, let's get in here and get to it. Let's get spicy. We are going to do that today with this beautiful pink collection. We're being inspired by Bridgerton to create something elegant, feminine, and really beautiful. I can't wait to show you what we're going to make together, but you're gonna love it. These florals come from our BBB box, which is blooms, berries, branches, and buds. And it's a subscription box we have. And this is one from earlier in the spring when we had those beautiful combinations of pinks. The greenery we're going to use is from our greenery box. It comes out every month, and it's a seasonal collection of greenery. And when they come out, if you're a subscriber to both boxes, no fear, because guess what? The greenery and the florals will all be the same season. You'll be able to use them together. And you're guaranteed to get one giant project out of these or multiple smaller projects. It just depends what direction you want to go. But the boxes create the inspiration, just like Bridgerton has done here for us. We're going to take that inspiration that came in the box and we're going to make something gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I love being inspired by nature, but this time we're taking our inspiration from the series Bridgerton. It's romance, it's Elizabethan, and guess what? It is spicy. So we're going to make a wreath today inspired by that. We're working with some of our subscription boxes that have that same vibe as Bridgerton. So we're going to have some fun today. Yep, fun with flowers, and yep, we're going to make it spicy. So on this design, we're going to start off with a smaller wreath base. Over the last few months, we've been exploring different wreath bases in design school and really made an effort to utilize smaller and larger. And one of the things we found is you kind of get a different look when you work with a small base. So today, instead of starting with a big base, we're going to work with a small one. But don't worry, it's going to be incredibly dramatic. And I think you're going to love that. So on our base here, we're going to start off with some greenery. And the greenery we want to use came in the greenery box subscription. This one has a nice variegation where it has that white and cream in there with all these great leaves. These are such a no-brainer because they're 3 greeneries mixed in one. And we love that. And we're going to use several of those. And we will have a supply list for this project. The supplies came from the subscription box, so some of them are exclusive to it, and they won't be available, but some might be on the website that you may want to be able to find a substitution if you want to make this, but you'll at least know exactly what we used. Now, when we want to make something dramatic, we think of a dramatic greenery with a nice flow, and this eucalyptus bush does it. It's a beautiful muted, like light green, dark green combo, which works great with the pink colors we're going with. So we're going to take this and start to create our base layer, basically with the drama. I'm going to work on the left-hand side, and we're going to start by putting some of this in hanging. Now, it hangs way, way down. I don't need it that far, but we're going to start to make some cuts here to trim that out. Let's do it. Let's cut down this bush to start off. So I just cut all of them off the stem as long as they'll go. And now I'm going to start to shape this out. And I'm going to take one of the longer pieces here. And we'll have that be our longest piece. I'm going to move her up on the wreath base for a second for you. So you can kind of see how far that's going down. I'm going to kind of go up into that mid-range. And we'll get some good amount of glue on there. And we're going to go right up in here. Now you're going to kind of create a waterfall or a cascade here. This type of wreath style has been kind of viral and trending, with a very dramatic line coming down far on the left. So I assure you, not only are we going to be cool for Bridgerton, but we're going to be cool for this year too. All right, here comes my next piece. I know this is my longest piece, so I want to kind of make sure I'm scattering them a bit. So I'm going to cut this off and leave it a little bit shorter. So you're going to take and have one piece that's got a small droop, and then one piece here, I dropped it, one piece that has a longer droop. All right, so I'm going to bring that in right beside here. So I'm starting to create my cluster. Just gently go in the glue skillet. Let's come off to the side. and we'll put that one in. Okay, so there's my first 2 pieces. Now this is the one that was super long, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this just into like 3/4 and 1/4. And we'll put this one along the outside. You can see how we're making a cluster. And you want to stagger it. Design school students, Keleas Bloomerinos, know that I'm not a fan of what we call matchy-matchy, and that means where the lines are matching. And that could be in symmetry. Even if I'm doing like a symmetrical placement on a piece, I don't like for it to be identical. I think it's just more natural looking. It's more of the style I like to teach. Okay? Oh, look at those. It's so pretty. Now, we got a good cluster going. This one has a nice little strong base. So the ones that have a little bit stronger bases, I'm going to hold for a little bit. We're going to put these to the side, and we're going to grab our second bush, and we're going to continue to create the flow kind of working up the back here. Now, if you think about a horse's mane, when they have a long mane coming down, it kind of works up the back of their head, and it's long here, but it gets shorter. That's what we're going to do now. So grab your second bush, and we're going to work our way up. Take these, and I'm going to trim them all off again. So it just takes a little bit of time to get this placement right. And in design school, we call this greening the base. So we're setting what we call the perimeter, and we're starting to create a base. All right, here's another super long piece, and we're going to trim that into a couple of sections. And the reason I'm doing these have a little bit of a stronger wire, and it's going to allow us to make that leap as we transition the other direction in a little bit. So we want to use the wimpy wires here on the back. You see how pretty this is? This is so pretty. Now, when we put our other greenery in a little bit, we're going to be able to kind of create a little bit of background support on here to help this stay forward. So sometimes our mechanics that we're working with and how we're designing, it has some structural elements to it, and it's not just all pretty, which I know is not exciting, but I'm teaching my students not only how to make beautiful things for themselves, but some of them want to learn how to sell their work and how to really work at a higher level so they can demand a higher price point for their work. They're not into making volume. They literally just want to make beautiful things, sell them, make some extra money for their family, and enjoy their hobby by selling too. And then when they're ready to scale, we've got them. We're ready to support them on that journey too, to help them make great quality floral designs that can sell at a little higher price point. All right, I'm trimming a next one down here. And now we're ready to start this little transition area. So anybody who's floppy, I'm using on the very ends of our design. So we're going to kind of come over to the other side now. So this is my left-hand side. We're looking good, nice and full and lush, and some of it's going out of the camera, but you see how pretty? Beautiful. Now we're going to come work on the right-hand side. So this for sure has to be the longest. Now on this side, we want it to be shorter. So let's get a starting point there. Now this is all freestyle today. I kind of have an idea of what I wanted. I'm being inspired by our subscription boxes, and they're perfect for those of you who just want to open the box and be like, everything I've got in this box goes together. I don't have to worry about if it's going to match something else. Keleas curated it. I know it's going to be a winner. I promise you. It really, I try to make them one theme in the box, or if they have 2 themes, there's enough of each theme to make more than one project. So you're not going to feel like, what do I do with this? It's not a surprise box like that, where it is a box that's a curated collection. The nice thing, though, when you do get the subscription boxes, the cool thing is you are saving automatically 20% on the retail price when you are a subscriber. So that is a benefit. All right, I'm going to come up to the top and start to create my part that's going to droop at the top. And do what we call a transition. We're going to transition direction. so we can create a flow in our design. Because it's really important to have a flow. Depending when you see this video, you definitely are going to have to come join us in design school, because we are always gearing up and very excited about our next seasonal workshop. And workshops are free for design school students. They do not pay an additional fee. And some workshops are exclusive only to design school. So it's an advantage to being a student. And of course, being a subscriber helps you learn how to work with these florals and be very confident in your placement, your direction, and your lines you're creating. It is all a process when it comes together. I think you're going to love it. Now, do you see my flow? This is gorgeous. Now listen, if you want to make something just elegant and lush with floral, we can just finish this out, and this could be a beautiful just greenery. Of course, we're not stopping there, because we are going Bridgerton style. We're going next level. We're going up. We're going out. This is going to be fun, because I truly am loving the new season of Bridgerton. If you've never watched it, you might enjoy it too. It's got a lot of romance. It's a bit spicy, but that's fun too. And it's really interesting. I love how they use the music in Bridgerton, and how they use popular music in a classical form. It is awesome. I love that part. Okay, we're doing really good. And I'm using the parts with a little bit of the higher, heavier wire at that transition. I love that. Isn't this gorgeous? We've done an excellent job in here creating our greenery and getting it nice and full. We don't have to have it completely full. I'm going to leave a couple of pieces. Now, if you can see the glue, anytime I can see glue or I've got some spacing in there, I need to fill in. That's where I'm putting my moss. I'm big on using the moss for that. Now, you ready? We're going to start adding some of the other greenery to mix up the flow a little bit. But this is looking great. Beautiful, beautiful. Matter of fact, you can put a bow up there, and this is a viral trending design. Bonus, 2 for 1 in here. Okay, it's time to add this greenery. Now, this has a more traditional green in the cream, but I love the berry in there. It's a very delicate touch. And with this spray, it comes really pretty like this. This would be a great spray if you're going to do a Christmas tree that's going to be like that type of vibe, that Elizabethan. And this would be perfect, because it's got the details and the pine and all this together. I love pine mixed with regular greenery. If you've never tried that in a wreath, do it. It's excellent. And we're talking nice pine. Don't be using, some cheap. This is nice, long needle, beautiful. Like you just went and got it off your pine tree, but you didn't. All right, we're going to shake hands with each piece before we put it in, and we're start to get our placement. So that means I'm going to shape it out. All of these are wired to the tip, so I always want to use all of that to my advantage. Now I'm going to come right in here to where we were changing direction, and we're going to start to add some of these. Now, I talked earlier about how we are going to use these to create, we're going to use them actually for some stabilization of this greenery so it doesn't roll on the back. So the reason we do that, a lot of times we do that with florals, is so we can kind of stabilize our design, and it gives a really polished, finished look. And that's what we're going to do right here. So I'm going to put my first one in, I'm going to come down. So we're going to kind of work the perimeter. And I'm coming out a little bit more, but I'm staying in the background, right behind the beautiful eucalyptus to start off with. And I got to shake hands with all these. These are so nicely wired. I love that. So if you have been watching the Bridgerton series, if you have seen some of it, tell me if you liked it. Or if it's just too racy, tell me. Oh, Keleas. Can't believe you like that. Oh, y'all. I do. I'm all into Dear Gentle Readers. Woo! It's fun in the thinking of all the things back in the day that would have ruined your reputation or your family and all of that stuff. It's really fun. I'm going to just tear down this next stem, so you can just gently tear these off and just get started. And we're going to shape this right up. Now, I've never read the books, but I'm kind of thinking I might just need to get the books. At least on tape, because then I could listen to them when I'm creating. I say on tape, audiobooks. Lord, I'm dating myself. Do you find yourself doing that now? I mean, you might be very young, but I say things now that I'm like, cringe, to using a word kids used to work. I don't even know what kids use words now. I don't even know. I have a 14-year-old, and all she does is just cringe at her mama. What are you doing now, Mom? Matter of fact, we filmed a promo for this video 3 times because she was like, Mom, I have to help you. Like, you need some help on your TikToks. God, you talk about cringe. What are you going to make me do now, child? But see how pretty these are mixing together, and we're getting a nice fullness in there. And I love that these have the lighter colors, but they also have the white. I think that's pulling in a lot of, it's helping us create a little bit more depth. And I'm going to bring this one down a little on the outside. And we're just creating a beautiful shape. Now, when we get ready to do the floral in a minute, you can decide how you want to do your own floral. There's all kind of different techniques for that. But today we're going to use a little bit of what we call a cluster method, where we're going to kind of keep like florals together. So that method works more like a garden does. So when a garden's growing, a plant grows from one area, okay? So that's what we're going to do when we get ready to do our florals in here too. They're going to kind of originate from one area for some respect for the flowers. But for the berries, we're going to let the berries be that, almost like the weed in the garden that's like, yeah, I'm beautiful, I'm taking over. Kind of like Penelope in the latest season. Kind of. All right, let me grab one more piece of greenery. I'm going to use one more in here, but I want you to see how we're doing. We're really filling, see how beautiful, I mean, we are lushing it up. I told you this is going to be pretty. I mean, I'm jaded. I think everything I make is pretty. This is going to be my style. And pretty. Y'all, you know how I love the garden. So anytime we make anything that feels like a garden, I'm happy. I'm happy. Okay, I'm going to take and just flip these out. See right there? And I'm shaping it all out. And this one's going to go more to the inside and stay in the center of this base. Now, one of the reasons we really like using that smaller base is because of the type of greenery I'm using. It's going to help hold its shape really, really well on the drapey greenery, because it's got the grapevine behind it, and now I've got the greenery behind it. Oh yeah. All right, come here, buddy. So this one's coming out a little bit farther than I want, and if that happens, just come in and we can take that part of the stem off, and we can leave this a little bit. I can thin those out, and we can bring that back in a little bit to another part in the wreath. Okay, flower time. So we're going to do our main flowers first. And for us, that's going to be the roses. Now, these roses are beautiful. I love the rose heads. They do have a bit of a kind of like olivey greenery that is not going to go with our color palette. So never fear, just take these off. I'm going to take the leaves off just like a florist would do. A lot of times the florist is going to take off the leaf of a rose, especially for different reasons than we are. But a lot of times leaves cause confusion to the eye and make it look, your final project look messy. So if you feel like there's just too much going on, you might just have to take the leaves off your bush. Okay, now we're going to trim these all down a little bit, and the next thing I'll do is I'll just trim off those little pieces where the leaves were, so nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to know when we cut off these little pieces that we took the leaves off, okay? And then these just look like little thorns on the leaves. You can trim these off of here, like here, and you are good to go. Now, I talked earlier about, Bridgerton being spicy, so our wreath is going to be spicy, and how I want this design to kind of the florals are going to come from one direction, or not necessarily one direction, but from one area in the design. So we created this gorgeous base already with our greenery, and now it's time for our roses, which are our primary pop of color. So I don't want the stems to be too long, but I do want about 6-inch stems on these, because I want to be able to work them coming in and out of our design. Now remember, all of this came in our BBBB subscription box. That was in the springtime, where we had a lot of the springtime colors. But I hadn't worked with it yet, and I was so inspired by the Bridgerton and the beautiful flowers and the lush fabrics and jewels and all that stuff that I just knew we got to get in here and play with this. So I'm going to start with these first. And when I say they come out in one area, for us, we're not using a bow on this design. So they're going to kind of come out of where our bow would be. So we're going to take our first one and put it in and start to build up a little cluster here. I gave that a little swirl in my glue pot, and I'm going to bring my first piece in. Tip time! So when I'm using Spanish moss, a lot of people will say Spanish moss is so messy, it's so, it crumbles, but you just use a little bit at a time. The way we use it, I just make it into a little bitty ball like this, and now it goes in to cover my glue, my mechanics, and go into that section of the wreath to kind of make a little glue sandwich in there to hold it in place. So don't think it's messy and all that, because you just need a little bit of Spanish moss. All right, our first rose is in, and I'm going to work from that point kind of backwards, and we'll have a good assortment of roses working back in here. Some we might have come out a little more, some we might keep a little tighter to the base, but I'm going for a total romantic vibe here as I put them all in. Okay, so yeah, feel the romance. I'm going to bring this one kind of behind a little bit of that greenery we put in. All right, so I've really taken my time here and made sure that each of these is at a little bit of different height or depth per se as they go in. Here comes this piece, and so I'm making sure I'm giving it some motion by giving it a curve. Now, if you've never used any of those techniques when designing, you've got to play with that. The joys of creating with artificial flowers are that you have the ability to do that and utilize these great wires in there. Okay, that's great for my roses at the top. Now I want to bring in roses to the bottom. And if you want to kind of, they call this reflexing the petals when you bring the petals backwards on real roses, but we can still do that a little bit on our artificial. We can open them up and reflex them per se. So I'm going to do that on a few of these too as we bring them in. And they have a little bit more of like a lavender kind of throat inside here. I love that. So now I'm going to come on the other side of our transition. You can learn all about transition and positioning in design school. And I want to really have that beautiful cascade working for me. Now on here I have a little bit of that rose leaf left that I wanted to cut off, so I'm taking those off because I want to stick with this muted color background that we've got going instead of this one had a little bit of a olive green, and I don't really want the olive green here. Now there's not going to be a lot of roses kind of trailing down, just a little. Spacing in there. And don't worry, we have a little bit of greenery saved where we're going to be able to accentuate the roses with some greenery around it too. We saved a couple pieces. I'm going to put that piece in there. I love it. And then let's put our last rose right here at the center. So you're nice. You see what pretty color combo this is? Feel the romance. Let me show you up close. You can see how pretty that is going in there. Look at that Look at this dimension. Oh my gosh. Isn't it so pretty? Hey, if you're not feeling romantic yet, come on! Get with it! We're having fun with flowers and feel the romance? I do. Alright, left from our subscription boxes are berries. And these are going to add the wispiness and the drama, and we have some tulips too that really will add that drama right to the florals in here. So with these guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut this bush down to where each cluster is just cut into separate pieces. So when you pull them off like this, now you'll have just one cut cuts all three at once. And that's fine because we don't need these really long. So I'm just going to trim them off here. Now, sometimes when I want to have a lot of length, I'll cut them longer. But in this case, we already have the length being created by the cascade of the eucalyptus, so we don't need more. All right, bring you down just a little bit. Oh my gosh, so pretty. All right, let's start with our longest pieces first, and we'll work from them backward. So come on in, and these have this beautiful corally pink that goes right with our roses, and that's another reason you want to get the subscription boxes, because it takes all the thought out of it for you. You know what comes in there is going to be the perfect combination. All right, and I'm going to use this one, just kind of coming down on the opposite side. And these bring a little bit of the brighter green in their leaves that's also on the greenery stems we put in. And I'm going to reinforce our shape just from here down. So we always are talking about lines and direction in design school, and that's really, really important here too. Oh my gosh, look at this. So if you're watching and you've been watching Bridgerton, tell me who your favorite character is. Of course, I don't want to have any spoilers, depending what season you're on, but tell me in the comments who your favorite character is. I think it's a lot of fun. Okay, there's that. Now let's work above. Let's work above. How about one way to the outside up here, going up high? That's going to be so pretty. This stuff gets me so excited, and I love to work. Just, you know, I'm hoping that people can just get inspired by beautiful florals. There was a time when people just loved that in their home, and I know artificial florals are different than fresh florals, but they certainly can bring that beauty into your home as well, into your space, no matter the season or the weather. And learning how to work with them is so fun. It's quite a bit different than making other types of wreaths. Working with floral wreaths is, I don't know, it's like gardening to me, except I don't have to wait for the blooms. I don't have to tend to it quite as much to get the outcome. We just get the gorgeous outcome right here. All right, I'm going to put one more in the middle. I think this would be pretty right here. Just kind of popping out there, and I'm going to kind of bend it the other way. So pretty. And then let's have one kind of come through the middle. I like to break up the florals a little bit with some dimension here, working above them. Yes, and you go up, buddy. That's just so lush and beautiful. And the fact we're using a very trending viral greenery style, I think, is a lot of fun when we create this whole finished look. That you can create that as a base, but layer right on top of it. All right, and that one's going to come in. So I'm done with my twig. That looks stunning in there already. Now, I want to take my tulips, and these are what you call real touch tulips. I love to use tulips to create some depth. So I'm going to undo this bundle, and then they're all going to be individual. And we'll start to put them in. And these guys are going to grow right out of the center here. And they're not going to be all around like the berries. They're going to be more in the center. So I'm going to take and start to put them in. I love tulips. They can really move around for you, and they're just a pretty little flower. I would so grow them if they would grow good here. I don't know if we just need more cold or what. I just buy them. I buy them blooming and enjoy them. first one. I'm going to put one more right here, coming out of the center. Get in here. Yeah, get in there. Look how pretty that is. I'm actually loving this. So I'm just using them in twos, and I'm kind of staggering them a little bit. I think they add a really nice dimension, and this is just so lush and pretty. So I would encourage you to try out our subscription boxes. They will be changing for each season. So you might see this video who knows when, because of I'm inspiring you with the series Bridgerton. But every month the boxes change, and they are like to get you ahead for the next season, and that is what is a lot of fun. All right, I'm going to put these last three kind of working from the bottom out. So I'm going to make a little cluster with them. And then we'll put those in the bottom. So once we come off the spring boxes, we go into summer colors, and then we work into fall, and of course, then at Christmas time and winter. It is truly so much fun to make these boxes each season and fill them with things that are that go together, and they just take that mystery out of designing your own project. And a lot of times you can get several projects. And in here, we also use some of the greenery subscription. And the greenery is the same thing. The greenery will coordinate with the box each month, but I have a lot of people who get one or the other box. But then the people who get both are really super satisfied because they know all of that's going to work together every month. All right, we are just about done. My last step is I like to soften the lines a little bit of the harshness of the florals. So I'm going to take some of the greenery we already have in there, and we're just going to kind of reinforce the shape, work the perimeter, and then break the plane a little bit of some of the other florals. So I'm going to start right here. I know I want to work this out a little bit more here. And we'll fill this one in. There's a lot in this little transition area. So you can see how pretty that is. Now come to a flat spot. I'm going to come up to the top of this piece too. I'm going to shape it up just like we did the others. And this one I'm going to layer up there between those two twigs we put in. So you can kind of see how I take the last couple of pieces of greenery and I'll fill in any holes. I'll look at my finished design and see where else do I need to add some depth. And now I'm going to take the little bit of the eucalyptus that we have left, and we're going to use that kind of a little bit more to the foreground. So I'm going to kind of let it come forward. Now make sure you're not going backward in the wreath. Like, don't shove it through the grapevine backward. Do not shove anything into your grapevine, please. We're going up and in. And these have that nice strong stem, so they're perfect to use in this particular application, so they can sit up really, really good. Excellent. Here's our last piece. I'll use up the top. When I'm putting this with this going, I'm just holding this. I don't dribble and keep hard in my design. So if you have been wondering how to get inspired by something to create your next project, sometimes it might be the unexpected. It could be a Netflix series you really love watching. So I can't wait for you to create something just like this. Grab our subscription boxes. They're the easiest way to have supplies that go together each and every month. And there is no time for them. You can subscribe and you can cancel any time. This is an example of using a DVD box and a greenery box in one project to make an extravagant, beautiful wreath. All right, Blue Merinos, I will see you next time, and you have fun with